I've walked into town today and can't help but notice the amount of shops that have shut, even down to charity shops. It's a sad sight. Saw one poor soul literally selling everything they own. Everything must go was the sign outside a pharmacy back near where I live. It's not to say it's directly to do with the COVID-19 pandemic, but then again, everything's associated, isn't it? Everything is part of this system. It's just so sad to see so many people in such dire straits. Our society truly is only as strong as its weakest link, and this last 9 months have really proved that. Internationally, the world's financial systems and employment, everything, health systems are so fragile, and considering how disease spreads amongst us, it's amazing how ill prepared we actually were. Saw a meme recently that said it's a dad's job to be grumpy and know things, and I think once you get past a certain age, that just becomes your mantra, your raison d'etre. Once I've got the money rolling in, I'm as easily seduced as anyone else with regards to buying shit that I don't need. But when I don't have it coming in, when I haven't got money, I don't care, as long as I can just cover the basics and just have the most minimal amount of pleasure in life. I just don't care. Having a lot of money in life, as relatively speaking I have had at times, and having nothing, it has to be said that when you've got a fair bit excess, is a damn sight more interesting and joyous than when you're skint. But all of the things that have happened to me in my life that have just bowled me over, knocked me for six, taken to entire new universes of pleasure and joy. It's never had anything to do with money, but quite often it's had to do with money getting me to a certain sort of social event or a geographical location. You know, this idea that money can't buy you love and everything like that, sure, you know, it's true, but it certainly helps to have a little bunny. Certainly helps to have a little bit of money to get yourself out and about and in amongst it all. Not that you can do that anymore, well, at this point in time. I think it's going to be funny when all this dies down and the world slowly goes back to some kind of normal in the coming years, with regards to all the conspiracy theorists saying that life as we know it is over now. I just think, really, you know, I do think that our governments are pretty nasty and inept and malicious, but I just don't think they're anywhere near, even the hidden hand that truly guides it all, really don't think they're anywhere near as clued up as we give them credit for. You know, it's a situation where it's easy to sort of fall for Hollywood reasons as to why the world's turning the way it is, because it does make it's not a boring life, but it's a very routine and structured life. It does make it a little bit more interesting. It's not to say that everything that's an alternate view on the way the world is turning is necessarily instantly a conspiracy theory. There's a lot out there that if you're willing to look into things from a different point of view, you'll find there's pretty weird shit going on behind the curtain. You know, the Wizard of Oz was written the way it was for very good reason, with the mastermind being a hidden hand behind a curtain who was nothing more than a normal human being when it came down to it. I just think that we need to remember the old ending of A Nightmare on Elm Street, that there are a lot of monsters in the world, and it's not to say they're not real, but Nancy at the end of the first Elm Street movie, to take her power away from that monster, she just turned her back on it and denied it any fear. And so much of this world thrives on fear, and if you do your best to just turn your back on that fear, and obviously that has to be the irrational, illogical fears, because there are real things in the world to fear, you know, but turn your back on the monster and take its energy away and it goes away. To end this completely abruptly and obscurely, just watching a few interviews and clips of Alan Partridge slash Steve Coogan. You know, it took Steve Coogan and it took Alan Partridge. Always hated the character of Alan Partridge for many, many years, just didn't get it, but all of a sudden I just did. He is so obviously based on the atrocious Richard Madeley, and for years I didn't have a clue about the Partridgeisms that Richard Madeley has. I always thought he was a really reasonable and quite rational guy, and that is why, in a funny sort of way, I just don't trust my judgment on many things. For God knows how much of my adult life I actually thought Richard Madeley was okay. That's why I cannot be trusted, should not be trusted, and have no self-belief whatsoever.